Hello, hello, hello. My name is Stefan, and you're listening to the Shine podcast, where I try to cover topics related to the development of the European Union. In this episode, here with me is Dani. We will be talking about e participation and its importance as a widely accessible tool for fostering change and upholding the democratic principles of the EU.
Hi Stefan, let's go back to square one. By definition, and I'm being a bit loose with the wording here, e-participation is the use of information and communication technology by states and international organizations to enhance transparency and engage citizens in a decision-making process of some sort.
That's the theory. How about the practice?
In practice, it can take three different forms. One is e-information, giving citizens vital information on policy making and institutional mechanics via digital channels so that they can get the facts straight before making up their minds about an issue. That's exactly what you're doing with your podcast, Stefan, helping listeners understand the workings of the EU and equipping them with actionable knowledge.
Now I see what you mean. I do want to make people more aware of their privileges in US citizens and the role they can potentially play in shaping the future of the Union. You mentioned three forms. What are the other two?
Right. There is also a consultation, which means using online tools to ask people like you for feedback and ideas when shaping new policies or improving public services. Then there is e-decision making, where citizens actually help create policy options or even contribute to parts of service themselves. Both of these involve real two-way interaction, not just being informed but being heard. That's different from e-information, which is more like one-way street where the government just shares updates without asking for input.
That's interesting.
The European Union has created several platforms and tools to encourage this kind of active online participation, making it easier for people, especially young citizens, to get involved in decisions that affect their future.
It's a bit more complex and multifaceted than I thought. When I hear e-participation, I imagine sharing a story or a reel on a social media to raise awareness about an issue that matters to you, or running a digital campaign with a website for collecting signatures and everything.
Your idea is by no means wrong. It can totally be that too. It can also be a campaign to gather volunteers for a specific cause through a Facebook event, a crowdsourcing site, or a TikTok video. However, keep in mind that there are downsides to challenging your activism through social media only. It may facilitate access to a wide audience and boost underrepresented opinions, but it's also used for spreading misinformation and poisoning the public dialogue. Whether it's random trolls or a coordinated operation, some actors are more interested in fragmentation than understanding and cooperation.
Yeah, I've experienced it firsthand on some of the podcast channels in my personal profiles, especially when voicing an opinion on a polarizing issue. Not sure if the trolls in question had an agenda or were trying to trigger me just for the sake of it. Whatever it was, one can never be too careful when running a campaign on the socials. Which brings me to the alternatives for e-participation. You mentioned that the EU has tools for that.
Absolutely. Are you familiar with Have Your Say Hub?
I've heard that you can support European citizens' initiatives with a few clicks, but I'm yet to find out how it works. A close friend sent me a link to an important initiative related or something I deeply care about: proper food labeling.
Then you have the perfect reason to check out the site. If the initiative you support gets 1 million signatures from citizens of at least 7 different EU countries, it will be considered as a potential basis for new legislation by the Commission.
That sounds awesome. But are there any initiatives that have met all criteria for consideration and received a response from this commission?
Absolutely, yes. You can easily get to them with the filters on the Find Initiative page and learn more about their objectives. Some enthusiastic and very nice colleagues of yours are producing a dedicated podcast called Citizen Central, and one of the last episodes presents examples of successful initiatives. Give it a listen when you have the time.
We'll definitely do that. What if I want to start an initiative? Let's say I have an idea that falls under the competences of the European Commission and have set up a group of 7 like-minded organizers from 7 different member states. We even have created a legal entity to manage the process. How do we go about collecting signatures?
Well, you create a new login account if you don't have one already, and after you have created the account, then you proceed to register organizer's account, which you will use to submit your initiative, follow the signature collection process, add information about extra financial support, and make updates that might contribute to the success of the whole thing. Before launching an initiative, I suggest you go to the forum because it's like a treasure trove of pro tips, best practices, and valuable guidelines.
Sounds quite useful. I'll display the link to the forum here. You can hear it down the link, and also include it in the description of the episode for those listeners planning to start a citizen initiative.
That's a great idea, Stefan. I hope we inspire people to shake things up a little or a lot depending on the matter. And they don't need to limit themselves to initiatives only. Sometimes the right policies are in place and just need a little tweaking to be in the best interest of everybody. That's where the public consultations and feedback portal comes into play.
Is it again part of the Have Your Say Hub, or is something you find offline?
No, it's totally online. It's a separate section of Have Your Say, enabling citizens and other stakeholders like professional organizations, NGOs, companies, and more to share their opinions of the EU laws and policies when these are being prepared and implemented. All contributions are taken into account in the decision-making process of the institutions. Examples of impactful public consultations are the ones on the development of integrated child protection systems and the rights of the victims of crimes.
And the portal is very easy to reach. It took me seconds to locate it. Wow, people even say that they think about that design of the US long-term budget.
Yep, it's a major priority that can benefit from everybody's input. Important legislation like the Cybersecurity and Industrial Decarbonization Acts have also been put up for public consultations, so my advice would be to visit the portal regularly and make your voice heard.
I saw you need to have an EU login account to share your opinion. That's the one through which you submit initiatives, right?
Right. By the way, you can also sign in with your Google or Facebook ID, which makes the registration process extra smooth. Once you have signed in, you simply follow the steps on the policies page and feedback rules. Don't post anything abusive, hateful, spammy, illegal, or off-topic.
I think our audience wouldn't have any trouble doing that. Is there any other resource of platform you can access with your EU account?
There are plenty, but for today's talk, I want to highlight one cool feature. You can endorse or comment on key takeaways from conversations between young people and EU commissioners on big issues like defense, health, housing, and climate. You can even reply to other people's comments, which can lead to some really interesting and meaningful debates.
That's intriguing.
These takeaways are listed as contributions in the Youth Policy Dialogue section of the Citizens Engagement Platform, and you'll find that right on the homepage of the Have Your Say Hub. And honestly, Stefan, considering the average age of your audience, I think a lot of people listening right now will find this a super relevant and easy way to get involved.
That's a sure thing. Giving ideas about policies and making contributions to EU-wide debates, that's beautiful. I love the fact that these opportunities are there for us and our fellow citizens. But what if you simply can stand something and you want to complain about it?
Well, if you're not happy about the way in which an institution or administrative body of the Union interprets the law or does its job on a daily basis, you can file a complaint with the European Ombudsman for maladministration. Maladministration can range from discrimination and abuse of power in the managing of funds to human rights violations, failure to reply, or refusal to grant access to information of public interest. In any case, make sure to review the eligibility checklist prior to submitting anything. It's on the Ombudsman's website, actually.
And that's where you submitted the complaint to?
Well, yes. The section is impossible to miss. It's part of the main menu. You just need an email to create an account. The rest is straightforward in terms of procedure. By the way, the same holds for petitioning the European Parliament. You can do it online through a lovely web portal filled with information about every step of the submission process.
Can I petition the European Parliament about excessive air pollution and misleading labels or foods?
These are absolutely valid grievances as they both fall within the fields of activity of the EU. The first one is an environmental concern, while the second one is about consumer safety. Right after you submit your petition successfully, share the news about that with your followers on social media. This is a good way of promoting all your actions on e-participation platforms.
Okay, so how does it actually work?
Well, you've just supported a European Citizens Initiative. Make a screenshot and put it in as an Instagram story. You took time and effort to contribute to a public consultation. Tell us about the whole thing in a TikTok reel. Not only will you raise awareness of a cause you're passionate about, but also encourage other people to support it by showing them how easy it is to do it.
There's a lot of truth in that. People are often intimidated by long explanations and tend to get the wrong idea about complexity of using these tools. Should they see the whole processes in a 20-second video, they would be more likely to take action and make the most of the Have Your Say Hub, for example. I include myself in that crowd too, because I've heard about the diverse functionalities in the hub, but only learned how to use them efficiently during our conversations.
Well, thanks a lot, Stefan. You're more than welcome. I'm glad we had the chance to discuss a wide range of modes of participation. Some of these are bound to shape the future of democratic governance.
This one was special. Thank you for listening to the Shine podcast. Don't miss the next episode. It's going to be about gender equality. See you soon.